Hi, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I am reluctantly and very much so here because I've had a really brutal weekend energetically, and I'm really finding it harder and harder to sit down and work. I need to fix this a little bit because I'm okay. So I'm playing summer still. It was here Indian summer until yesterday, and I don't want to let it go because today was really cold and it was snowing and foggy, and a lot of things are happening around here because we are under severe pressure, and I have been experiencing a lot of pressure. I spoke about it in my Serbian video, but some new things happened since, and I'm really feeling like I could hardly find the strength to come and do this because I'm completely blocked at the moment. I've done some work around it today for myself, but that was rather challenging too. So um, yeah, what's going on is that I have been experiencing very, very bad energetic attacks and cyber attacks and frequency attacks, and I don't feel like doing this videos and stuff anymore because every time I need to make something, I need to do something, like the whole sky comes down at me, and I feel better once I sit to make it, but I've been feeling really, really low, and I'm very tired. I'm really seriously very tired from it all. It's been really hard for me lately to keep the vibration and frequency since of so much things directed to me, and it stopped a little bit for a while, but now it has returned. So basically, I spoke about that in my previous video in Serbian, and I gave some information around that, and I was literally just emanating some messages. Something was speaking. My soul was speaking through me, and I literally don't remember what I said. I didn't remember, once I made a video, I didn't remember those things that I said. I only saw them I'm conscious, I'm aware, I'm not doing it by leaving my body, so I'm not channeling anything, I'm just emanating. But I say it, and I keep, I'm allowing it to come through me as it comes, and I don't remember what I said, so it's possibly not going to be the same kind of video like the last time, because I literally, I I just remember the general theme about it, but it's the vibrations, the energies are a bit more different than then, and even harder, at least around here. So I'm a little bit unwell myself, and I'm feeling that there is a beam on me that is making me sick, and I am feeling that my body is fighting something that's around here. So yeah, I wasn't, but I need to get it over with because it's part of this process. So regarding these information that I was giving, yeah, I had an issue that somebody booked a session with me, We talked on the phone, as I usually do. I asked some questions that I used to check. Everything seemed fine, and the woman wanted a session. It was a week, like we booked it a week ahead, and then she didn't cancel it, but she didn't show up either. So this was the first time for me. Usually, it happens that people book and cancel, like even in the day before, but they have the decency to call you and tell you that they're not showing up. And for this one, I she didn't contact me, and I went to my office, and I was a little bit late, so I told her that I'm running late because I had her phone number, of course, and then I had no response, which started being a little bit suspicious. The energies were feeling a little bit off and strange at the moment, even before actually that I started to get ready for the session. So she didn't show up, and she didn't text back, and she didn't tell me that she's not coming. Although I called her and I sent her a text message and I sent her an email. And then when I came back, I called her from another phone number, and she told me that it's a wrong number, which clearly wasn't, that this person is not there on that number, which clearly wasn't. But there was something did come, some kind of frequency came. And it was a little bit disruptive frequency. Some things happened that week too, and I'm going to speak about it in a minute. So the information that I want to share is that that's not okay. Of course, people change their mind, and that's fine. I'm nobody's boss, and I'm nobody's soul keeper, and I'm nobody's owner. So I'm not going to do anything to you, but it's really decent to just text back and say, no, I'm not coming back. You don't even have to I'm not coming. You don't even have to explain, because I would understand you're not ready. So obviously this person is not ready for something like this, which is fine. But I got a little angry with myself because I didn't see it coming. And it's not even the fact that she wasn't ready because of this frequency that came. I feel that it was her. She did her bit. She did her task. It was her task. So, I kind of had to push forward because I'm sharing office with other people. So I had to ask them to do me a favor, and I had to move 2 people, and they had to move their own clients so that I can accept this client so that we can finish until a certain point of time, because she had to go and pick up her child, which, of course, I have understanding. My colleagues have understanding for me, but that later created some problems for me because, now I can't do that when I have other clients who need something like this. So that was not okay, and I don't like it. I didn't like it, and I just wanted to say that to make it clear that if you're not coming for a session, you book a session with me, and if you're not coming for a session, just send an email, text, or do whatever, just to tell me that you're not showing up. When you tell me that you won't come because you changed your mind or whatever, something happened, there is absolutely nothing that I can do to you. I'm just gonna say fine. Maybe I might like it, but that's not up to me, and I understand those kind of things. This is the first, and my reaction was a little bit over the top, because I was feeling something that's off, and I couldn't completely understand what was there, and it was being tested and triggered to have a reaction. And yeah, I didn't. I mean, actually, I just called the person and I didn't say anything. I just called, and she obviously saw that I don't believe her, that because we spoke several times on the phone and exchanged more than several messages. So of course I knew that that was that person. At first I thought something happened to her. So yeah, and my provocation for that was because it was so aiming on my solar plexus and my angers, so that I have a reaction and I react to that. I didn't. I mean, I just, okay, yeah, it's another person. I said, yeah, fine, sure. I I don't believe you, and that was it. But I'm just making it clear for the future. Of course, people do whatever they want, but I'm also making it clear for other parties that are watching this, that I just, I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous. I am not doing this on my own. I am seeming to have a quite large team of beings that are working with me. So it's that it's not somebody else's decision when something is going to stop. And why am I saying this? It's because of I didn't connect the dots, yeah, because I thought it was. I also had some things explode in my apartment. I had my water heater. Uh, it happened on the day when we were arranging a session, so but I didn't think it has anything to do with it, because things happen, things break down. Uh, that was they almost exploded, and it created a short circuit, and I had 4 short circuits around that. And even when I just lifted my thing to pour the water, it just short circuited. Luckily my main switch went off, so nothing happened to me, and I'm being overcautious now. But what I saw is that I was thrown black lightning at me. And the thing is, why I'm speaking about all this, because I sense things and I see things. And although I'm not using that in my sessions, in a sense that I'm not being a medium for my clients, because it's not that kind of therapy that I do. It's a therapy, it's not mediumship. So I'm not doing that, but I do see things and receive information. So I saw that this was more than just a regular malfunction of something, because of it was there was something in there. And this black lightning thing, it's not the first time it happened to me. It happened several times. And it's kind of the first time when it happened, I thought it was aiming at somebody else, but then I became pretty sure that I was aimed at. And it it creates a havoc in your life. It creates a complete disconnection on some level to your timelines that you created, and the ascension and future timelines, and everything you basically created so far, and your soul group, and your ship, for the ones who understand that kind of language. So that this one was not as strong as that one, because that one just created a lot of problems for me afterwards, and it blocked some of my connections, and it blocked some of my cooperations, and it just created it did block me this time too. And it was also the day after I was like kind of helping somebody, and yeah, I'm not allowing it. So you can do whatever you want, but I'm not allowing that again. So that got cleared, and I was able just to see what happened, because I had a session afterwards with a client that came to see me already a couple of years ago, and I know who I'm dealing with. We have the same guy. And he, he showed me, and he cleared it. He cleared, so he closed the portal because it was aimed to open a portal there. And yeah, it gotten um they amped up the game since that first time. It was aimed to block me, but now it's aimed to do something else. And this is why I said that I don't feel like doing this, because I'm constantly being hit with something when I'm trying to share this beautiful energy and beautiful things with you and connect you with your souls. And I'm constantly being hit with something, like I constantly feel like there literally sometimes I feel like I have a football being thrown at my head, and it doesn't feel nice. I needed a bit of rest from it. I had a little bit, but now I'm it's beginning to be a little bit too much. That doesn't mean I'm giving up. I'm Serbian. We do things out of spite, out of sheer spite. So no way. There's no way. But I need to change some things. In which direction, I don't know. Why am I saying this? Because it happened again, like on Friday for the weekend, before the weekend. I had a lightning again. And it opened a portal in this room. It, and a light bulb exploded, which is nothing. I mean, that happens to me quite often. It hasn't happened in a while, but it happens. Sometimes it's in me because I can't control my energy, but this wasn't, because I know what was going on. And this is why this weekend has been a little bit brutal. And something was on me, and I saw some rituals again, like animal blood sacrifices or whatever that was done to connect to me. I don't know. That might be even a memory. I don't know. But from what it felt, oof. From how it felt, it happened. It happened now somewhere. And yeah, I had to deal with the energies of my handler. Not in person. And that felt heartbreaking too, because I can't hide some things from myself anymore like I did, because I know very well where it is coming from. And I've been stating that I do not want anything, and I don't want to cooperate, and I don't want anything or anyone to plug into me, because I'm not a battery. But since like maybe a month ago, it's been an ongoing. And since then, I've been seeing things that I haven't been able to see before. Whether this is a manipulation with me from another third party, because some of those things are also done by technology. I don't know, but I doubt it, because there are some things that I would only understand. And I don't understand. This is something that I'm learning, and I don't understand this. How can something or someone persist in connecting to your energy and use you? Because there's nothing else. There's nothing. There's no communication. There's nothing that anybody is trying to make things right or pull me in or whatever. Or it's just to plug into your energy stream. And it's against my free will. if I accepted it at some point because I didn't know better, because I thought there was genuine feelings, or at least for my side, I'm not accepting it anymore. And there is all the contracts and everything. I worked for the last 2 years on that part a lot. Well, 3 years. Everything, all the possible things that I could remember, and now even the things that I couldn't accept. And I have been told by other people, and I had some visions myself, but I just couldn't accept that. That's, it's been burned, it's been sent to the sun, and it's central sun, it's null and void, and I do not accept it anymore. So there is some energy. So this is why I'm saying that I don't know how much I'm being manipulated with some kind of technology or whatever that is, because I'm being sent some dreams, and it's happening in dreams. So it's kind of happening when I sleep, when I can't even say no, and I wake up because I feel something connecting to my hands and connecting to my womb and my solar plexus and my here in my head, and then I have something here. And the dreams that it's just ridiculous. It's not my dreams. I know my dreams. This is not how I function. This is not how those people that I am having conversations with function. And yeah, it's like there is a quantum computer that plugs into you, and it extracts your energy, because I literally see like a black cord with a plug, like you would plug a laptop into electricity current in the wall. This plugs into me, and it's coming through the image of certain people, not only one, but certain people that I know, but in particular. But there is a difference when it's a person or a being. So there is a being that I see as a spider with tentacles, or a spider, or a mantis, or like like it's not an octopus, but something like that. But it's an insect, but it's an artificial stuff, and it's not only one. There are several, and it's a coven. It's coming from a certain coven that some are here and there. I've been speaking a lot about it because I had problems and I've been dealing with it, but this repeated itself specifically throughout this weekend, and I know why. I'm being handled, and I don't want it, and I don't like it. And it's still very painful for me. Although I have moved on, and I have the right to move on with my life. I don't need anything from there anymore. It's just that it's done so much damage to me. And I don't want any more damage to myself or anybody else connected to me done. Because everything that happens to certain people who are either trying to help me or trying to have something with me, some kind of a connection, and something happened to them, and I don't want that. I had this in the past, so in a way, some things, I mean, in past life, so in a way, some things have been repeating itself. But I just don't want this meddling with my life anymore. I have the right to live my life, and I have the right to ascend. I don't want to give my energy to anyone or anything anymore. The true connection doesn't require that, and it's not that. And until I felt it, really, I didn't even know. I forgot how this true connection feels. I'm being very honest and genuine now. Although I'm not saying names still, but if this continues, I'm gonna be really doing that. Because this is such a manipulation with me that it's like beyond explanation. So what I've been told and explained, so that I can look at things from a different perspective for the sake of myself, is that regardless, I don't know about those beings that I just mentioned. I think that they are on certain people, they're attached to certain people, and they're coming through like a handler. uh, it's not one person, it's not one being. It can be, it's usually somebody very close to you who knows you very well. I've had several in my life, and these are my father and my stepmother. They're the main ones, but I'm not talking about them now. And they're usually open. There are people who are open for these lower frequencies because of their own wounds and programming, and they have been used before through past lives too, and they usually are part of your lineage and part of your closest family because they're being used and they can trigger you because you have karma and trauma with them. So and it's also people, but there are people who can be sent to you who are also close to you, who have been in your life or in the past life too, and have been handlers for you in the past life, uh, because they are, it's their job. They're trained to do that. They had handlers too. They're turned into this. It's usually their spouse or an ex spouse, or also a member of a family closer, not necessarily mother or father, but somebody in the family, and they usually have been abused themselves because this is a trauma programming. And it's a trauma bonding usually. But the trauma bonding doesn't mean I have a trauma and he comes to fix it, or she comes fixing it for me. No, it means you are having you they have been programmed, and you both have been fragmented by the use of trauma, and the frequency is being matched to this particular being and particular person, so that it can, whenever you start waking up, or I mean, they can even help you wake up to a certain extent, but then to a certain point when you sort of, I don't know how to explain this except by using the term, start realizing what the matrix is and start understanding how it works, if not ascending from it. I'm not saying that I am yet, but I don't know. But we all, something is happening to us all. So yeah, it's kind of, they match you with this frequency to keep that you might be both at a certain point on different frequencies and higher frequencies. You're all working to be on a higher frequency, but at a certain point, when one starts rising, you can even be from the same group, by the way, because we all had fall. And I mentioned before that I had memories that part of my group have fallen, and that rescue missions have been sent for them, and I have been part of the rescue mission, but the others pull us in. So they won't let you, because they think they like where they are, or they don't know how to get out of it, because they have their own handlers and stuff that they got meddled into. But and then it's the karma issues, and it's a big mission, like big entanglement. But when you start disentangling certain things, it's like in a system. It's better, the better explanation, psychological explanation for this, it's like in a family system. When the system you are living in is sick and you start healing, you are starting to disrupt this order that they created for themselves to function. Because without this order, they don't feel sane. And although everybody's insane there, that's normal for them. But when you start actually to heal and start being a little bit saner, and this is what we call becoming aware, yes, and start functioning differently, and emanating different energy and healing yourself. And when I say healing yourself, I mean psychologically healing yourself, or energetically healing yourself. Then they start doing everything to pull you back in. They're not necessarily handlers, but the handler energies are projected through them because they still have their own traumas and lower energies and lower emotions active, like, and even friends that are envious of you, or they have been envious. I've been shown from the past how that works out too, because they don't have to tell you anything, but when you see a certain look and you see a certain dark dimension through it, I get the shivers, and that's my trigger. The trick is to just recognize it and diffuse the trigger, which I spoke about a bit. But sometimes it's hard to recognize it. And sometimes it's not something somebody says to you. It's a touch. It's somebody who passes by you. It can be an unknown person that can be actually sent to you so that they can just touch you in a certain way or tell you a certain thing. So a vibration can be a trigger. So that this brings you completely down. For me, that means I have to be kept in complete misery and sad, and like totally miserable, because everything you put in me, I amplify. Like, I've been complaining a lot about here how people, I speak about something that I see it multiplies around, and everybody starts all of a sudden, whether they hear it from you or somebody else, it doesn't really matter, but things multiply, and everything you place in me, and like other people who have the same kind of energy, I multiply. So if I'm in complete misery, then I multiply that all around me. And that's what's been the case for a really long time, not only in this lifetime. And I've been kept under this finger, under this, in an abusive I've had this in my family too. My father is an abuser and a misogynist, so I've had these past lives through and too, and this dynamic with this particular person that I thought it was somebody else, with whom I didn't have this, but I didn't have this connection for a really, really long time, and it was really hard to recognize it because it was so far away that it was so unfamiliar. And this is the case for most of us, if not all of us, because we're all living in something, we're all focusing, especially now, especially lately, on something that is not love. And then there are things that we confuse, like things that are codependency, especially in these kind of relationships that are trauma bonding, that it's a codependency. And it's not even an attachment, it's codependency. So sometimes we recognize some certain vibration that doesn't mean that this person doesn't carry. And it's like feeling of a home. Yes, by the way, home is a frequency. But this feeling of a home means that at a certain point you got disconnected from your higher beings, your higher self. And if you are in constant search for your counterpart, like we have been directed all the time to be in, and I have been in, that's an opening. For this for manipulations from certain energies. I'm not saying people, I'm saying certain energies. Because even in those kind of things, some things can start genuine. But this is not my case. This is the case of someone else, because I've really thoroughly researched it. Your spouses can be sent to you so that they can keep you from developing your full potentials, not from helping you develop them. And they are usually trained, especially in like spiritual communities and in certain celebrities and people that have that come from certain lineages. So they send to you a handler that's going to handle you all your life. So this is why a lot of marriages fall apart in the spiritual community. I spoke about it, I think, at some point. This was my case. This was not my case now. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about myself now. But it's a certain vibration that's being completely directed to me this weekend, and it's been like constant hard focus on my higher self and my guides, and it's been like I've had this several dreams. I've been completely beaten up on I don't know which plane is that. I don't know, is it astral or some other plane, but it's a certain level that I it's known and familiar to me, because this is where I've been meeting this being. So I've been literally beaten up several times. So and that's also part of the memory, because I've had lives like this where a man would beat me up, and I've had an experience in my family life. My father was like that, not to me, but to my mother, to his women. So it's something that it's also being cleared, but it's something that I'm saying no to. It's not something that I want in my life. It's not something that I want in my energy ever again. And it's something that everybody should be, male or female, should be clearing from their field. This is what we all are clearing from our field. But we have to admit it first that we have it. And I knew I had it, but I just couldn't accept where it was coming from. That's one bit. So about this certain frequency, yes, you feel it as a frequency of home. So this is why you can connect it to feeling the frequency of your soul tribe or soul group. If you haven't actually felt, if you haven't actually remembered how it actually feels. And what I've been explained now is that this attachment to me now is coming from, connecting to the energy of a certain higher self. It's like our oversoul, group oversoul. It's not my particular higher self, it's my guide. But and I've been known as somebody who, and I already done it. I maybe normally don't do it as much for my clients, but I do it for the people that I care about. I put my neck for you. I risk my life. And at some point I did that, and I would help somebody at my own expense. And I didn't do it now this time around, but it didn't turn out in the longer run as the best thing for me. I don't mind. That one I don't mind. I didn't mind when I risked my life also at some point. But this is my point is that this can be a trap for me at some point. And I've been shown, the reality showed it to me like 2 weeks ago. I can't even go out the street anymore because, people either become very aggressive with me. Like yesterday, I had a first door neighbor outside become really aggressive with me 5 minutes before I was about to have my treatment. And it's ridiculous because I was turning off the electricity to walk out, and I was seeing somebody off and to walk out, and she just blew off at me because I'm using the joint electricity. It's stupid. It was just for a couple of minutes. but it has nothing to do with that. It's just, there is this certain frequency of aggression directed towards me, and I don't deal well with aggression. So either I get triggered to react, or the reaction is not always to be angry with them. I just run away, I pull in, and I become really like miserable. So yeah, that's the handling frequency, one bit. And the other thing that happened is that it's really becoming challenging to go outside. There was a woman on the street, an elderly woman that needed some help, and she couldn't walk up the stairs, like two simple steps, but she needed help because she barely walks, and I helped her. And I wanted to do something else, and because she needed help to go back, as I promised her I'm going to come back, and I did. I came back, and somebody else was already helping her, but then she let this person go and grabbed me by my arm, and she literally took me home. And I was like, okay, she needs help to go up the stairs, and I took her home, but I was like, okay, I'm not going to go inside, that's all, that's it. And then she kept me sitting there and I was like, I just couldn't get out, and I felt like, something really plugging in me. And I was like, it felt off, but I didn't just say anything until she started calling me, like really calling me she would call me in a time when it didn't feel okay for me to talk, or I had something else, but she wouldn't stop. And at some point I was like, why am I feeling this? What am I to do? And I started hearing her, and I just didn't like that, because that meant she's in my energy, my dimensions, and I had to block, because I mean, we all should be behaving like this. We should be helping each other, and this is my natural impulse. But we can also, especially us who are in helping professions and are genuine helpers, we can get either attacked afterwards or pulled in into something, especially when we are helping out at our own expense. That doesn't mean that I don't protect myself, but when we are helping, giving it all at any certain cost, sometimes you just need to do one little thing and then stop and make clear boundaries. And if they are trying to step over the boundaries, then you should just cut it off. And I usually don't know how to cut it off, and I'm really good at setting boundaries with my clients, but not in situations like this, and not with people who I care about. I do say no, but it's not when they start plugging into me, but when they start pulling you in and the emotional blackmail and stuff like that. So this was not it. But then I heard as if somebody was saying, no guilt, no sense of guilt. You're done. You're not going in there. It's not for your best interest. It's not for your benefit. And afterwards, when I came back from that session, when everything got clear for me, I just ran into this person on the street. So it means that she got plugged into, or something, with all the people who got all the vaccines and stuff, God knows. But this other thing is just, in certain relations, whether family relations, where I really care about somebody, I'm ready to risk my life. And usually those people are not ready to do the same thing for me. And this has proven to me so many times. And then I become hurt because of that. But it's a clear message. It's a clear message for me. I shouldn't be doing things like that. I should be giving everything to real, true, and genuine connection when there is a clear blueprint connection of your original soul family. And yeah, that was my bit. I even had a session like that before, because I was working with a colleague who's doing the same thing as me. And when I was speaking about those kind of things, and all, some of the things that are happening with some planes, and attachments and attacks and stuff like that, they were all thinking I'm like, they're a little bit, off, keeping me away. But now I'm having people asking me for help for that, because they're becoming aware of some things, because things start happening to you. Something is not functioning, or something is happening to a family member, or something happens that is off, or you start having too many problems, or too many things malfunctioning in your house, or I don't know, just too many things all of a sudden, one after another. I mean, to this woman, it was really, things were really brutal with her daughter. They had suicidal attempts and stuff like that. So, yeah, there are things that try to attach through my clients, like this first example there, and I spoke about other examples, but this I deal with, and I've learned how to deal with that. But I haven't learned how to deal with the energies that are not accepting a no. They're just, what I feel plugging at that moment. It feels artificial. It doesn't feel organic. So I'm really confused, because there was another kind of energy that goes with this image that I'm seeing, that it's not like that it wasn't like that. So I become really upset, and I don't know, I've become confused, and I don't know what's going on. And yeah, but there are other things that are just simple energy abuse that are not an inorganic being. So I don't know what happened there, but it's not my business anymore. That's the point. And the beings that need to step in and help in these kind of situations is they need to turn to their higher self and their guides, and God, essentially, because only God can help in these kind of situations. If they don't want to, it's their issue, and they will have a lesson at a certain point. They already are. Maybe they don't know it at the moment, but they already are. It's just that I was feeling so overwhelmed, and it was so much pain connected to it, that in certain situations you can only move away. I was kicked out and pushed out, and then when I finally accepted that, I wanted to move away. I don't want to be pulled back into something like that, because I don't want to feel like this ever again in eternity. This is my lesson that I've learned. Well, I don't want to be in an energy of misery and pain again, ever. It doesn't mean, it's life. It doesn't mean I'm not going to be feeling it at some point, because painful things happen to people, and, I can't switch off life. But I don't want to be experiencing this. So that's one thing that I needed to say. And yeah, and then I stopped with information. So I'm using this same platform. I'm using YouTube. I'm making this video in the same way as before. Partly because I felt so bad that I just couldn't continue exploration of what to do and how to change, to continue with this anymore. And partly because I opened my Vimeo account, and you can only upload two videos a month for the account that I have. So I've used it already, and I'm gonna post this on YouTube as I used to, for the people who are still watching there and following there. And yeah, when I find something else, and I want to change the way I use my social networks, because I'm beginning to be tired from everything happening there, and everything I'm seeing there. and I haven't found the proper way of doing it. And I opened it out of love, all of these accounts. Well, YouTube, yes, for because I was directed by my guides, but there are some business accounts that I opened up for the connection, uh, because of the love connections and sending messages. And I don't, I mean, I don't want to do that. I mean, I just want proper communication, not this. And yeah, it was a long time ago, not now. So yeah, that's what I had to say about me. I do everything that I do out of love. If I don't feel the love in my heart and from my heart, if I don't feel this flame, and if I'm not, if I don't feel love in what I'm sharing, what I'm doing, in as a response, I'm gonna do it. This is why I was feeling so, and everything I've been feeling recently, all the pressures that we have been hit recently, and everything that we have been focusing on recently is a lack of love, no love. And I feel as if I feel as if I'm choking in it. I just can't function in that kind of energies. I feel like the soul pain, and I sometimes it's really hard to leave people to go through their own lessons. It is. I don't know what the consequences for the beings that are not accepting and no and still continuing with something. What are the consequences there? I don't know what's the ethics there. I don't understand it. I haven't learned. I'm still learning that lesson, but there are energies. I mean, I'm used to, we have been talking about sovereignty, and when you claim that you're sovereign and that you don't consent with something, it stops. But I've been faced with something, those things recently. All of us are being faced, like in the war that is happening, and in an us spiritual war that is happening, and everything that we're being hit with frequencies and air poisoning, air pollution. We are dealing with a lot of air pollution around here. And lately they've been spraying stuff around and they're telling you they're not doing it. But when you clearly see the fog and something on the ground and some particles there, it's clear that they don't give a damn. They don't care how you feel. They don't care what's happening to you. This is what I've been feeling with me, happening with me on some level, but this is what we're all being faced. They don't care. They're pushing forward whatever their thing is, whatever the next plan is. And this is like a machine doing it. So I don't know how to deal with it. We're all facing it, and I haven't figured it out because they don't need a permission to do it. They're just going to do it. And these are like very aggressive energies that we're facing, and I would rather run and hide and dig a hole in the ground than face it. And this is basically how I felt all my life with my father, who has been very aggressive. And when I sense this kind of energies around somebody, I'd rather not be around. And but there are other frequencies too that are very aggressive lately, like especially like for this weekend, because of the Halloween and Samhain, that has Samhain that's been twisted and turned around. Oh my God, that's been horrible. And I yeah, you can clear, you can do pretend. I mean, even when I had to ask for help from a friend, and we were supposed to meet yesterday, and Zoom wouldn't let me in. And then today, Zoom wouldn't let me. I tried it couple 5 minutes before we were supposed to meet, and it worked. It was working. When he sent me the link, it wasn't working. It wouldn't let me in. I use Skype for my work, and I use it all the time, and it works perfectly, better than Zoom. And it will let my computer wouldn't open it up for me. Eventually, we did it, but it was still freezing a little bit. The cameras were freezing and stuff, but we managed to do it. And yes, there was something very much around me, and I was blocked on several levels. My accounts, my bank accounts are blocked out too. So it's a very, it's a big something that's been a shared clearing, obviously, but that's also been an issue for me for a really long time. So it's not only from now, it's been happening from a while ago. It's just these kind of energies that I didn't know before. What was it? And I wasn't connecting with certain dates. Every time when there is a pagan holiday or a Catholic holiday, I have problems and something is happening. And I'm not even Catholic. I will thank God they don't know when Orthodox Christian holidays are. I have at least a little bit of peace, because now lately I haven't been feeling again. I've been feeling in this place in my flat. I've felt really safe up until recently, and now again I'm not feeling like I have peace in my own home. And I really, this is why what I was speaking about in the beginning, that they open portals to get to me. And it feels as if I have a battlefield right above my head, right above my building. And also people are abreacting towards me. So when I say abreaction, when you have a trigger, you can have a reaction that it's enhanced and it's blown out of proportions. And it can be because you are feeling too much emotions around something, and usually way too much that normally you would feel in the same situation. So it's not about that particular situation, but you're being triggered. There's something that is triggering it. So for me at the moment is aggression, disrespect, and aggression directed towards me, and not even physical aggression, but this energetical aggression. But usually, so that means that either you have an issue from the past life, or there's been a programming or a trauma that you have hidden from yourself, and some covered up emotions that you don't want to deal with. But they're provoking you. I mean, situations in itself, life can provoke you. So it doesn't have to be deliberate. But when the handlers are doing it, they're deliberately provoking it, so that they can hook you in and pull you in again. And these cords that I see doesn't necessarily have to be from these handlers, but from these beings, or quantum computers, or whatever they are, that are the keeper of the matrix. So of the artificial matrix that it's set here from a long time ago, not now. And we have been all keeping it up, running, because we don't know how it functions. We're discovering how it functions. And when we start discovering how it functions, we discover a little bit, then we pull back in. And we discover a little bit, then we get pulled back in. And I've been remembering situations in the past where I have discovered this, and I got pull back in again, whether from past life and I don't know, parallel lives, and God knows, maybe even this one. But I just, because I've been reading some articles, then I started, hey, hang on, I read this, I've been having these memory flashes from running from certain people, from certain persons who have been like positive connections to me. I just have this flash, and it's like, hang on, I I remember we are having this conversation like way before, or I remember it from way before. I mean, something like stuff like that. So it's not all like in the Matrix movie, but wow, it's just scratching the surface of it. Because you can be sent handlers like they're government agents. All the governments have their own agents. Some wear, some not. There can be other agents, and then other extra dimensional, extraterrestrial beings, and interdimensional beings who are also handlers and are working through others like them. But yeah, I needed to say this in the beginning because this is my way of facing it. Because I'm not having face-to-face contact. That's obviously not going to happen. Until a while ago, I hoped that there would be enough human decency for that, but obviously not. And yeah, that's still a big pain portion for me. And I am, I'm still dealing with it. And there are certain things of why I could even be able to experience this and understand what's going on and what's happening with me and to what extent, because there are certain energies that came into my field that I don't want to be talking about publicly now, because I don't want meddling there. Simple. And I care about that, and I don't want meddling there. And I'm nobody's slave. I didn't come here to be somebody's battery, and I didn't come here to be somebody's resource so that they can have their life running and functioning the way they want, and I'm completely miserable. I know this was not genuine idea from the beginning, but it turned out to be that, and I don't want that. I want it to stop. And I'm stating it publicly, deliberately, because it's a firm no. So I didn't deliver any of the messages that I was delivering in the Serbian video, because this was about me and what I had to say. So let's see if anything is there. I feel certain energies listening. There is really no time and space, so I do make this video day before, but I feel people who are going to be listening it tomorrow, whatever. So These energies are not working through me at the moment. I just need to emanate a little bit, even if I'm not saying anything. So yeah, okay, I'm listening. So people like me in helping professions and people who are the servants of God, of the divine, are very, very open to helping others and giving it all, like I was saying, but we can be a little bit gullible at for certain energies. And we are more prone, we're more open to infections with viruses because we work with them. This is what we do. Um, we melt them. We have fire. We have fire. We have divine fire. We're divine flames. And with our divine flames, we are burning this dross away, this viruses away. We are melting them, but at the same time, we are more prone for that. And when we feel like I've been feeling like this past week or like a month now, it's because we're feeling them. We're feeling these energies of the viruses that we are burning off, that we are clearing. We're not clearing it through ourselves, we're melting it away, but we're feeling it. And if we have somewhere in us some similar frequencies to it, we're going to be feeling it a little bit more. But then it's really essential to know how to work with our own energy, how we function as an energy, how we how to how to deal with ourselves and who we are as an energy. Certain things can only happen to us until we fully remember who we are and until we fully accept who we are. There's a bit of us that we're still not accepting because we are thinking that we are too small. Who am I to be this? Who am I to be that? Who am I to be this powerful person and having this ability? Because we have been taught through our lives, we have been brought up to believe that we have to be small, that we don't know how to do it. The part of the programming that I spoke about, we will be experiencing these manipulations until we fully accept the divine fire. All the elements basically, but divine fire is something that burns in us brightly and melts all these viruses away. The people around us, as I mentioned it once, they are frozen and they need to thaw. And some who are more infected than others can just attack us. It feels as an attack because our fire feels as an attack to them, although they're not attacked, but some of them can feel this as an explosion. When I spoke about the twin ray, twin flame connections, when I spoke about how when this blending of these energies can feel, I literally saw in me when some of the things were, it pushes to the surface some of your own issues But I literally saw at some points explosions in certain levels, in certain dimensions or timelines or whatever that was that I was seeing. And it was an explosion. So you can imagine when your energy comes into contact with some people who are completely unaware, it feels as an explosion to them, because on some level it can be. You're not doing it deliberately. You're not attacking anyone. You're doing your part, your bit, but it's for them. It doesn't feel like that, and they might be getting at you. It feels to you that they are um, belittling you or humiliating you, but they're in their own story, in their own head, in their own program that is being burnt away, and they don't have a clue what they're doing. Even the handlers, everything that I just mentioned now, they're being used. These certain frequencies come through them and they don't even have a clue. This is what Christ meant when he said, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. They literally don't know what they're doing. And it might even happen, which I was seeing in my father, by the way. When he would watch a movie and somebody would get up on a child, become aggressive or spiteful, or it was like, oh, how can they do something like that without even remembering that he just said yesterday to me something similar? So they don't even know what they're doing. Yes, it's hard. It's hard to forgive them when especially when you're in a human skin and you feel burnt too, you scarred. But this is why you are constantly directed to connect to your higher self. They cannot. They feel this energy of the divine on you, and this is why they plug into you, and this is why they want to grab you and keep you and take you home, because we all need love. We've been focusing on everything that is not love for, yes, we've been living in it, but we are so focused on it lately, too much. People like me and who are lovers of the truth, they've been focusing on it the most lately, and this is why we're feeling so overwhelmed, because we are focusing on everything that is not love. Yes, it needs to be cleared away and burnt away and melted, but it can't not be, our main focus. Our main focus needs to be love and the connections of love. Oh God, I hope you feel this, because I'm feeling it. When people don't have love for so long, they want to pull it in, they want to drink it and eat it and grab it and keep it and plug into it and use it for themselves, and sometimes they don't even know what to do with it. Have you ever met a child that lived with, well, not necessarily without a human contact, but I'm referring to this because I worked with children from foster homes who have lived deprived of love. They cling to you, they attach to you, they will literally grab you um, like a leech, and you don't get angry with a child, but don't, trust me, I could be quite upset at some moments when you can't get them off you. and you become overwhelmed. I became so overwhelmed at a certain point, burned out. So I couldn't do that. I can't I can't do that anymore. This is the same thing that is happening with people outside now. It's like they're hungry. And when you're in deep disconnect with your team, with your original soul, with your higher self, you become hungry. And especially if you have had this connection and worked from this connection and it worked through you and you know what you lost, you're going to be clinging on to wherever you feel it. But you cannot receive it through other people. You have to crave it. You have to want it. You have to miss it so much that you want to lay your life for it so that it comes back to you. Especially if you have abused it. I mentioned it before. They can leave you if you abuse it. They can leave you. You don't have to be gullible and be pulled into something with your decisions. That happens in that way too. But then your higher self works all it can for you to pull you back in. They can leave you when you become too obnoxious and too arrogant. They do. I mentioned in some of my previous videos, Courts of Heaven, where we can go and file a complaint when something becomes too, when somebody doesn't accept a no and won't stop with certain things and it goes overboard with karmic ties. That's what I was speaking about then, but now we can do this for the interventions that we are seeking. They're not going to enter until we ask for it. And the Courts of Heaven, it's a Christian-based concept. There are certain videos that you can use to learn about it. But the way I felt it recently, it's like that's halls of humanity. So we don't have access there. Our higher selves and our guides do. But I felt it. I didn't feel it before. I felt this energy recently. So there are certain groups here, beings, and human beings who have been placed in certain realities, not only to burn because they have a flame, divine flame, so that they can offer it to other people and melt this stress away, but they have a task to observe, to watch, to witness, and report back to this place. So that certain things can be removed and intervened for good. So that we can have an intervention that's going to remove it for good. I'm trying to, my mind is pushing back a little bit because I'm trying to explain something to you that I don't understand well myself yet. But it's basically available to all of us. So if you have a clear connection to people that don't know, I've done it a couple of times with my clients, but they don't respond to everybody and everything. It's not a court that is corruptible. She get lied to it. But if you are one of those whose task is to be an observer, a witness, you will be sort of called, feel like an inner calling to go and present your case of what you witnessed, of what you seen. Whether if it's of what you've been through or what you're sent to witness, so that there can be somebody who will say that, okay, they have went too far, and now you need to come in and step in and stop it. And if there is enough of us who are doing that, it will happen. In what way and how, I don't know. All I know is that it does work, because when I got beaten up from somebody like the other day, I, I was being repeated. You had the audacity to turn me in. Maybe I had to. Maybe this is what I was there for. I don't have a clue what that was about, but I'm connecting it with. I've had sessions with people who were in some other dimensions, are witnessing certain things that certain alien beings are doing, and making a record of it so that they can report it to they didn't know where. But yeah, this is basically where. So as long as I'm mentioning it now, maybe some of you who are listening to this will be called to that. Maybe in your dreams. Maybe you'll just sit down in a meditation and invite your higher self and do that. Go there with them and present your case of boundaries being overstepped, too many things being pushed around, and you being harassed, and other people being harassed, and some things are not stopping, and nobody is asking for higher beings to come in and intervene. We usually do this only for ourselves, because we cannot meddle with other people's path. But now, in these circumstances when everybody's being manipulated and abused, I feel that we can do this for certain energies and certain people, for certain situations, not people, for certain situations. However, we have to go back to what we started with, you not accepting who you are, because all of the things that are happening and the blocks, and there are push and pull situations, and there are energies that are like forces that are pushing against. It's kind of happening when you need to be catapulted into the higher level, higher plane, because they're always like opposing forces that they're needed to push, to create this push, so that you can be catapulted, like from a sling, from I don't know what's the word in English, like from, not a cannon, but like a slingshot. You can be pulled back, and then if you're not fully accepting who you are, and you are everything you are, not necessarily only your shadow parts or the parts that you don't like and you want to face, but all of the other things that you are meant to do, because you're being so focused and so directed to just a certain thing that you want, or you think you want, or you think you need to do now, or it has been working so far. It served you, and you served through it, but now you need to expand. And yes, there will be energies that are not, they don't want you to expand, that they don't want to let you go, because you are in a way maintaining their system. but they're also creating this pressure for you so that you can be catapulted in a higher planes, in a higher reality of yours, in the next level, whatever that means for you. If you are identifying yourself within role of a galactic warrior, this might be something you have been and part of you, but there is much bigger plane. You are a peace advocate, a peace warrior. You are a peaceful warrior that isn't an attack, and that needs to learn how to not react but to respond to certain situations. And this is creating an energetic currents in you that you need to learn how to diffuse. If there are triggers, to diffuse triggers or turn them off, but to also understand how your energy works so that you can work from a higher plane. You can't do that. You cannot embody your divinity if you don't even want to be here. You cannot embody anything if you just want to get out and exit and ascend and then help from somewhere. You help from here. Yeah, sure. They help from another dimension. There are beings who are helping us from another dimension. But there are certain energies that you came to embody here so that others can walk that path. And you have done it before, and there are beings who have done it before. There are portals that are open, and we know them as saints or ascended beings. There are things that don't need to be invented all over again. You can use those, but you are here to unlearn certain things from the past in yourself, in your own portal, because the stories, the archetypes that have been presented in the past that were needed for that moment, for particular moments then, are not enough now. If the balance system needs to be pulled down and you have to be doing it from here. And unions that need to happen here haven't been on the planet for a really long time, and they feel unknown to yourself and to others. These energies feel unknown because we have forgotten about them, and these burning of viruses and all the changes that are happening, basically happening through the couples that are doing it, and they not necessarily in unions, but the energies that are creating pressures and diversions are trying to prevent those unions, because there are certain energies, certain beings that are an antivirus themselves. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to. They're doing it just by breathing here, just by being present here. And mostly those energies are not yet present in this reality. They will be present through the unions. That can be unions itself, physical unions, physical couples, or your child that is developing. So you are being pressured more because of, like the case of this client, a colleague of mine. Her daughter is an antivirus, and they'll be challenged more than others because they're doing everything they can to prevent them from using their own energy in a certain way. yeah, you have to be conscious, yes, but like I said, you don't have to be doing any kind of special treatment. You are an antivirus yourself. I'm one of those energies, and this is why there are other people, and if the pressures are harder on those people, they're more targeted because of what they need to do. What they need to do differs from energy to energy. So whether this is a union or whether you have a child that you are upbringing to be behaving in a certain way so that it's being protected and safe from certain things. So the child might be experiencing many difficulties, or it's your unborn child that needs to come in this plane that maybe has an ability to just uplift in a large group of people, like population, just by being present in the area, not by not doing anything else. And there will be in the future more energies like that coming to earthly plane from these particular couples, that some are in union and some are not, that should come into union, but this is the main focus, is on those not to not be a frequency match for each other, and to pull them off and away from each other. That has been happening before for centuries and centuries, but this is not the scenario that is planned for this particular time. So the games of not wanting to be here, the thoughts that are being sent, or some who are being very pushed and pulled and targeted, and the rituals that are being done, and some people exiting and leaving who maybe they're not meant. Some are meant, but there are things that, some catch viruses seeing to this, so that certain people who carry this divine flame, divine love in them, don't develop it properly. What if you just accept everything you are, every single ounce, every single bit of yourself? What's going to happen? You're not going to explode yourself. You might feel like you implode and explode, but you're not going to. What then? What if you accept in your total magic, the magnificence of you, of who you really are, of you being exactly where you're meant to be and who you're meant to be, and on the right track, with side tracks here and there, but on the track to of being of who you are meant to be all along. What if you are already perfect the way you are? You just don't feel the confidence enough for yourself to say that you are this magnificent being, this great magician, this great magi, this great sorceress, or whatever, this divine flame that you are, because everything lately has been set to tell us that there is something wrong with us. At least this is what's been happening with me. Like when these energies come, and when I'm feeling triggered, and with whatever, they're trying to, they even tell me this, that there is something wrong with me. Oh, you didn't help me, there is something wrong with you. You don't want to help me, there is something wrong with you. Or don't use this electricity because you're going to hurt us, and there is something wrong. There's something wrong with you, and everything is just this giving us back this information that there is constantly something wrong with us, and then we constantly have to develop. Yes, we're constantly growing and developing, but this constant feedback for us, that there's something wrong with us and we're constantly flawed, it is not taking us to the ascension timeline. We're not going to ascend by thinking that there is something wrong with us. We're going to ascend by thinking that, by accepting everything that is in us. Yes, there are certain things that need to be uncovered. Maybe there are things in there that need to be healed or that we need to become conscious of. But let's face it, there are things in us, some parts of us. If we have been so fragmented, there might be parts of us that can be healed and that have to go back home to the source to be recycled or healed there, and it's not going to happen in this lifetime. And that doesn't mean you're not going to ascend and that you're not going to receive your energy back, and you are just experiencing it in a little bit different way, and you're going to another level, to the level that you can attain at this moment. I mean, this is not necessarily for everybody. There are still parts of us that have done bad things that we need to face and accept and heal. And for certain people, that means moving away from certain situations and from certain surroundings and from changing your surroundings. Maybe you are so resisting change. We are all resisting change. That you are keeping yourself in a situation that you don't want, because it's so familiar to you. You felt comfortable there at a certain point, and you felt comforted there. But maybe it's your family, and you cannot accept that the surroundings that you need to change is not by going back to your family, but moving away as far as you can from it. That's what I needed to do with my family. I still have some. That doesn't mean you're not going to have any connections to it, but you're not going to be allowing them to be triggering you and pull you in situations where you can be available and controlled. Because when you are triggered and when you are in this misery program, you are available, and they can more easily tap into you and drain you. Not only drain you, but control you. I have been feeling very trapped and imprisoned, like I'm in prison lately, a lot. Yes, there might be something that you need to clear away that is calling you to be witnessed and healed in this way, but sometimes it just, if it repeats itself, it means that you need to change surroundings, especially if it's constantly like a fresh start somewhere. It's like what I've been mentioning from the beginning of what I said. It's been hard for me to accept something that some things are over, but that sometimes that's what's needed so that you can move forward. And there is obviously still a part of me that is sad because of it and grieving because of it, but it's from the same energy that we have been functioning for a long time now in this dynamic there is no reparation of the situation. You can only move away from it. And once I accepted it, there were no openings for me, but I wanna move further. I wanna expand. I wanna progress. I don't want to be pulled down anymore. And if I cannot pull somebody with me, turn away and pull them back up there with me, like for instance, like what I'm doing with my brother, then no. If you allow yourself to be pulled back down, there are certain points where your guides won't be able to help you no matter how much they try. And my soul is so hungry for God. My soul is so hungry for my source, my divine partner, my higher self, that I follow this energy anywhere. And when I don't feel it there anymore, I'm not there anymore. Which is at the same time a blessing and a hard thing. Because he's a very sharp being. He doesn't want to be where his energy is being abused. And he pulls away everything off him and everyone he connects with from that reality too. Because you have to love him and you have to yearn for him and you have to invite him back in. You have to love him very much for him to come back. And even then, it's not going to be easy to withstand that energy. And this being is my true love throughout the centuries, and I'm loyal to that energy. You cannot hide things from yourself and expect to have change. You cannot push things under the carpet and expect to have change or bring change to other people. Maybe when I'm speaking, I know, not maybe, I know for sure that it's too much for some people, and that they, until they come to a certain point, they don't understand it and are running away from it. I'm being bared here. I'm not maybe saying everything, but I'm not doing it for the sake of followers. I'm doing it for the sake of this being that I share deep love, that I have this deep love for. This source energy. It's not a being, it's an energy that presents itself through different ways. And I know this is going to pull me through no matter what, because it has done before. Was there anything else that I needed to share now? There's a certain message of the expansion that is happening that we are all resisting to, because it creates a little bit of chaos before it settles in. If you need to expand into your abilities and use your abilities for creation and for service to the divine, you cannot be focusing on the only certain way of how you think you want to be using your talents, because you have more of them. Your talents heal. Peaceful warriors, galactic warriors are most powerful healers that are there. And at a certain point, they need to grow into this energy of healing consciously. The more you clear from yourself, the more you connect to these other dimensional energies that are you, because you are a multidimensional being. And the interventions coming in are from your other selves, that are from the future or higher up than your small you at the moment. Small in the sense that you are younger in development than they are in the moment, and it's all one like one ship. I'm having some stream of information around ships and energies that are like your original soul group that are in here present, ready for you, working with you. But they are like space shuttles or a mothership that is there. But it's also at the same time one being, because it's a consciousness of this one being that is working and keeping you at the moment where it wants you to be. Like, I've been having these visions lately when I walk down the street and I look up at the roof and I see Christ standing with his arms open there and emanating. And when I just shake look a little bit, and it's not, it was a part of the roof. There was nothing there. It's just a second, and it's happened several times in different occasions, and at certain points I would just look or just be falling asleep, and I'd see this energies around here, and they will keep you where they need you until they need you there, and then they move you somewhere else. They usually don't move you in a very dramatic way. But there can be energies that are trying to create a rip in this joint field. In the grid that you created with other members of your group, knowing who are doing this with you from other dimensions, so that not that they would just necessarily take energy away or steal energy, but to prevent certain things from moving forward, certain beings from moving forward, and certain beings from being extracted, and certain rescue missions from being successful. This is a message for somebody who's going to be listening to this, who needs to hear this. It's a very direct and specific message. These grids need to be pulled back, and they need to be activated in a very near future. This mission at a certain moment can't be aborted, no matter how difficult it feels. It feels difficult because the ship is being on fire. And yeah, you'll be called to action pretty soon. It's gonna be showtime, action time. For many of you, but there's certain shields that need to be activated through certain someone or beings listening to this, and just that's, I don't understand what I'm saying, but I don't know who's saying this. And one other thing that needs to be mentioned is that the game from the hologram, from the parasites or viruses in the hologram, it happens like it's aimed to prevent from the fire, the flame, divine flame in you igniting completely, but it needs to be not ignited not only in your heart, not only in your solar plexus. It needs to, yes, it's solar plexus, but it needs to be ignited here, and it needs to be steady, and it fully developed, like full flame, because this burns off all of the illusions. They cease existing. And this is why they are fighting for the survival. My mind does not understand this, so I cannot fully translate it. So does this mean whether it should be ignited in all of us or in some of us? Or is it just somebody who needs to hear this? It's just me, any of us. All of the turbulations happening around from these like parasitic beings or parasiting off of you. They burn away when this starts burning steadily. I've been seeing like a match or a candle, but somebody comes and blows it away. And I thought for a while, because I had sessions like this, that it's me doing it, but it's not me doing it. It's blown from something blows it off. It needs to be ignited and burning steadily at all times. And it burns them away from your energy. They can't come near. So it looks like you're having this like apple around you that they cannot pierce. It's not an apple. It's something like a sphere. They can't pierce. It might feel uncomfortable for you too, because maybe the surroundings where you are in cannot support you anymore, and you have to change the surroundings so that it sort of blends in your energy without any disruptions on any part, because it can feel disruptive for your surroundings. You just need to allow for the emanations to happen. That's all there is for now. And receptivity is the key for many of you. You're being resistant to being receptive, as all you have learned and known so far is being drained and taken from you. Giving is needed, and it's perfect. It's a lesson for most but you cannot give what you do not have. At a certain point, if you continue giving and giving with being drained, you're going to be taking from others too. And this is what's been happening to my vessel here. The perpetual lesson. That is inner energies are creating it, are fighting off because the higher being coming in is not a being that feeds off other energies of other beings. It's unfamiliar to it, so it's hard not to be giving. It might be hard for some of you too, but you have to learn to be in receptive mode for as long as it takes for you so that you can replenish yourself. Otherwise, you would be part of the game, and you did not come here to be part of the game. You came here to change the game. You are a game changer. You need to change the ways that the system has been functioning for millions of years so far. It's not an easy task, but you're coming from the frequency that this has already been attained. You know how that feels like. So this has already happened for you. You are coming from the future. This is the past for you, so you have to be allowing what you know to occur. Just allow it to flow through you, like you're allowing it out, flowing. Just flow it, flow it. See the humans around you as the little children clinging to you for love, and all the other energies that are being disruptive. Give it time to leave your system. To flow away from you. Don't cling to them by trying to understand them and remain in pain because of it. Feel the pain, but let it flow out from you. And then it just move away from you. Continue. There is a moment where this all stops. And it's coming soon. We promise you that. Allow the very core of you to shine brightly. It is not the time to hide your shine. Yes, there have been needs for that, to hide, to keep your cover, to not blow your cover away, but now it's not that time. You just have to be allowing it to burn brightly, because it will burn the dross and parasites and viruses away. If you're an antivirus, you have to allow yourself to be that. Be that. Don't limit yourself, just be that. This especially goes on for the masculine energies. You are limiting yourself. By not allowing to understand the feminine energies flowing into you at the moment. You're not going to be fully present for anything in your masculinity if you don't understand that you came back here for her, to experience her, and to understand her story and the way feminine energies have been used and abused, and how have they been functioning for eons. You have been part of that story, willingly or unwillingly, consciously or unconsciously, by just by being here, because those were the circumstances. And none of you is ascending higher without understanding that you are here for her. Whatever that means for you, whether you understand her as your counterpart or a significant woman in your life, or a mother or a divine mother, you are not going anywhere without her. You came back for her. All of you, male or female, regardless, you are here for her. I am here for her too. Because your higher selves also have feminine vessels too, and you need to understand how those energies work through feminine vessels, because this is what brings balance. And that balance has been lacking for a really long time. And that's over. Okay. Wow. I overdid it this time. It just there was the energy present through me and around me that I just had to allow. Again, it's not channeling, it's emanating, it's me, it's my guide, my oversoul, my it's not my higher self because it's feminine energy. This was not a feminine energy. But again, they don't have a gender, so it can be either feminine or masculine expression. This was masculine expression. Thank you for this, and I hope you gained something from it. And was there anything else? Oh God, no. Okay, thank you for your patience for my rantings, messages, lessons. I will continue to deliver them in another way when I feel inclined to. And what I'm feeling now is that I need to speak about the false twin flame dynamics, but might not be so soon. Um, yeah, because I need to regenerate a little bit. So thank you very much.